Alright guys, we are back for another video. So let's talk about team building today. I've been quite often asked, are these characters together good in a team, and how is this team and how is that team? And it seems like there is a general need for a proper team building guide. So in this video we're going to try and cover everything there is to know about team synergies, what makes a good team, what are like some of the must-haves within a team, right? So let's actually get started. Alright, let's try and get the basics out of the way first. Any team, and I mean literally any team, as of now, with the current characters available, will need the following composition. You will always require a so-called full assault character. You will always require one tactical character, and you will always want to have a support character. So you want to have one of each of these character types within a team. So a team is usually a three-person squad, so basically it's a three-character squad, and each character will have one of those roles. A tactical character usually brings something called a battlefield skill to the team. A full assault character is obviously the main DPS, and a support character will buff your teammates and debuff enemies. There can be instances, even now, where it's actually useful to run a double support character. This would mean you would leave out a tactical character. Say, for example, you're running Bankai Ichigo. I have seen instances where people are running with Bankai Ichigo, Kisuke, and Yachiro, A6, obviously, and that team is doing, on a scale, extremely high damage, right? It is such a high damage number that even with a Byakuya is not going to be topping it. The problem is with such a team is the damage is not going to be constantly as high, right? You're going to have damage bursts, but overall the damage is still better with a tactical field character. Maybe that changes in future, but anyways, as of now, this is going to be the basic setup of any team. Alright, now let's talk about some of the requirements for a tactical field skill to be active, right? So we're running a full slash team here, for example. This is the prime team currently. Bankai Ichigo, Byakuya, and Kisuke. All three characters are slash characters, right? So you can see this here. And Ichigo is going to be the DPS, Byakuya is going to be the tactical character, and Kisuke is the support character. Now, on the bottom left, you can see there is something called the battlefield skill. I'm not going to go too basic here, but anyways, you will require at least two characters of that specific type to activate it. So as you can see, all of the other ones as well, they have each a condition that you will require. Like, for example, the one from Sajin requires 2 strike characters. The one from Kaname requires 2 thrust characters. Only Uryu and Rukia, as of now, they don't require a specific character category in order to deploy the battlefield skill. So they are universally, let's say, useful in any team, right? So make sure you're running a full squad. Ideally, right? Ideally, as of now, a hybrid team isn't going to be as strong as a full mono squad. So this game highly encourages as well monotype team building anyways. Now let's go over a few sample team builds to just make it clear, because I have almost every character. I actually have everyone except Yoruichi, so she's going to be my strike DPS. So I see a lot of times people are actually running very, let's say, weird combinations. I mean, I get it. Sometimes you might think, okay, I have 2 SSRs, like I have Kaname, I have Bankai Ichigo, and I have Byakuya, and I want to run all 3 of them in a team. It might seem at first sight alright, because all of them are SSRs and you might think you're going to do a lot of damage, but no, a team like that wouldn't have a very good synergy, because you're not going to be making any usefulness of the battlefield skill from Kaname, because he's not a slash character. You're only going to be able to use the battlefield skill from Byakuya. So Kaname is sort of useless in a team. He's not bringing much to the table apart from a bit of damage. you're even better off running someone like Orihime in that team, right? So a good team for starters, again, focuses on the requirements and stuff what I've just mentioned before, but let's build a few teams. So a good team, for example, for slash category would be Bankai Ichigo, Byakuya, and Kisuke. This is going to be the prime meta team currently. If you do not have Kisuke, then run Yachiru. Yachiru at A6 is arguably even better or as good as a A0 Kisuke, right? And this with her core stamp and her exclusive weapon. So this is going to be one team you could be running. Another version is if you're lacking, let's say you're lacking Bankai Ichigo, then don't go ahead and run. So for example, you're going to run Ikaku, Byakuya, and Kisuke. That's not a team which is going to work well. Ideally, you're going to be using Shikai Ichigo. Shikai Ichigo with Byakuya and let's say Kisuke is a solid team. This team will get you very, very far in the game. Right? Because Shikai Ichigo, especially with his core stamp and his exclusive weapon, is a menace. For a free-to-play SR unit, he's actually good. Heck, I mean, even the initial Ichigo Kurosaki is better than if you're running a DPS strike character and 2 slash characters, which doesn't make sense, right? So that's going to be another good team. Also a good team for starters could be something like Shikai Ichigo, Rukia, where she is, Rukia, because she's universally useful in any team, and say, for example, Yachiru or Orihime. That's also a solid team, which is going to work very well in the beginning, right? So let's go for a strike category team now. So strike characters. If you have Yoroichi, she's going to be the best DPS of the strike category as of now. If you do not have Yoroichi, use Chad. He is literally the carry you need. And I already made a video on him. He is a menace. The best strike team, if you don't have Yoroichi, is going to be Chad as your main DPS, Sajin as your tactical support, and Nemu as your support character. Nemu is brutal in this team. Now, if you say, for example, you don't have Sajin, right? So you're lacking the signature strike team battlefield skill character, then you're always easy on going with Uryu. Uryu is, again, universally adaptive to any team. Or you could even choose Rukia, since Rukia doesn't have a, let's say, category requirement. These are two options you can replace Sajin with. If you're lacking, let's say, a good support, so if you're lacking Nemu, then another good option would be Orihime. Orihime will be a fill-in support in any team. She works incredibly well. The healing capabilities are very good for some content, and the shielding capabilities are even better for specific content. So she's always going to be a great pick as of now. So that's going to be a few variations of strike combo setups. You could actually also go with, if you have Kisuke, the better team would even be, for example, going with Chad, Sajin, and Kisuke. That would also be a viable team. Again, here it's an argument. A A6 Nemu with her signature weapon and her core stamp is arguably better for a strike synergy team than an A0 Kisuke. Now, this is again something we can argue about. It's a subjective opinion, obviously, but that is just the way from some playthrough testings with each of these setups. So again, that's going to be some of the strike team compositions. Now, as for Thrust, this is going to be a hot one. Thrust teams are my personal favorites as of now because we have Kaname. And bro, let me tell you, Kaname is just a literal menace. With his weapon, with his core stamp, this guy, he literally almost out DPSs the main DPS of the team, which is actually currently Ikaku, which is just funny to say. But yeah, anyways, different teams here. Now, the best team which you're going to be able to run as of now is going to be Ikaku as the main DPS, Kaname as your tactical support, and Kisuke, even though he's slash as your support character. Now, there is no best in-slot SSR thrust support type character for now. We don't even have a SR thrust support character until Rangiku comes, right? So Kisuke is still going to be the best option. If you do not have Kisuke, use Orihime. That's going to be a solid team. If you don't have Ikkaku as your main thrust DPS, then run Renji. Renji is actually pretty solid in a pure thrust setup if you don't have Ikkaku. And also if you don't have Kaname, then use Uryu. Uryu is a solid thrust type tactical character. Again, he is not required to run in a thrust team, but he's very solid. And that's going to be a good team if you're missing above SSR. Sadly, as of now, there is not much more option to play with here in this regard. You could also choose a setup with, for example, a thrust DPS, like for example Renji, Rukia as the tactical battlefield unit, and then Orihime as your support. That's also a viable option. Alright, now let's talk about Spirit. Since the recent edition of the SSR Toshiro, we actually have a broken Spirit team now, which is pretty busted. You're gonna run the main best team currently is going to be Toshiro as the main DPS, Rukia as the tactical skill support unit, and you're gonna run the support character Kisuke again in this team. If you do not have Kisuke, the best free-to-play option is going to be Momo. Momo is actually doing a pretty good job of buffing any Spirit team. And this team will take you very far, especially in the trial towers, for example, right? That's going to be a good team. Now, if you do not have Toshiro as your main Spirit DPS, the best option, or the only option you're going to have, is Ururu. She's a free-to-play Spirit DPS character. At A6, I'm daring to say she's actually alright. Right, she's actually alright. She's lacking in a lot of compartments, but she's actually alright-ish. And also here the same thing. If you're running Ururu, then use Rukia as your main tactical character and also Momo as the support character. Unless you have Kisuke, then Kisuke is going to be the best option. If you want more survivability, you can also go with Orihime, but generally speaking, in a more DPS-driven focus Spirit team, Momo is going to be a best choice. So yeah, with that we covered actually I think everything there is to say about team building. So again, let's just recover some of the things again. You want to run each of one category in a team ideally, and you want to run monotype teams. That's the way the game is currently built. This might change in future. Let's say, for example, we get Aizen and you have him at a very high ascendancy at A6, and then that makes maybe some other team compositions possible. Bearing in mind a tactical character, right? If the ascend recension are very high, then they are usually viable even as a on-field DPS. So yeah, we'll see how the game progresses in future. I hope this video was helpful to some of y'all out there struggling to build good teams. If you need any help or if you have any questions regarding the game, do let me know down below in the comment sections. I'll try and answer every one of your comments. Also, if you want to have good squads, then do write me what characters you have, and I can tell you exactly what teams you should be running for what content, for example, as well. I can guide you guys through that. So yeah, hit me up with your questions, and yeah, as always, thanks for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. Until next time.